folks to join. Would anyone mind putting in um, where they're coming in from tonight or today, wherever it might be, into the chat? We're just talking about the city, so yes, representation there for two of our New York City folks we have on here. Connecticut, love. Massachusetts, welcome. Utah, California, cool. Got some great representation. Vermont, not too far. Another city person, love it. Very cool. All right. Well, it seems like we've had a good chunk of folks who are registered join in, but feel free for anyone who's just joining us this evening to add where you're zooming in from tonight. And I'll do some introductions. My name is Tiffany DiPasquale. I'm one of the Associate Directors of Admissions at Skidmore. I'm also a very proud Skidmore alum. Really happy to be working back at my alma mater. And I'm accompanied here tonight with two of our student ambassadors who'll introduce themselves. Val, do you mind going first? And Sam will have you go second.
Hi, everyone. My name is Val. I'm a senior from Brooklyn, New York, majoring in health and human physiological sciences. I'm on the pre-physical therapy track. Outside of academics and missions, I'm on the polo team. I'm on the varsity team, and I also am the public relations person. So I do anything from photography to running Instagram and the Facebook. So that's pretty fun. Outside of that, I do research in my department. We do cardiovascular research. I'm department rep, and I work in the organic chemistry lab as a teaching assistant and a prep worker.
Thought I pressed the button. Hi, my name is Sam. I'm a junior from New York City. I'm a political science major and environmental science minor. Outside of admissions, I was an RA last year. I'm the president of the Skidmore Democrats, and I work as an EMT for our EMS force called SCEMS on campus as well.
Perfect. Thank you both. So welcome again. As we go through this presentation, I also want to highlight that you can use the Q&A function to be able to ask any questions that you have throughout our presentation. Both myself, Sam, and Val will be answering questions as we can in between, who might be talking during that moment. But we'll also leave some time at the end to do kind of like a live Q&A or answer some questions that we might not have been able to get to throughout the session while we're presenting. So feel free to add any questions throughout as we're kind of going through. We'll cycle that. But yeah, to kind of start off, we're going to tell you a little bit more about Skidmore College and where we're located to situate us. So we are located in Saratoga Springs, New York. Very snowy background behind me right now is what our campus is looking like. We got some snow today, so really a magical winter wonderland right now. And we're about 3 hours north of New York City, about 3 hours from Montreal, and about 3 hours from Boston. Closest bus and train station to access is about 6 to 7 minutes from campus, right in Saratoga Springs. Closest airport for access is about 25 to 30 minutes for the Albany International Airport. Really kind of centrally located there where you still can get to and from folks who are coming from New York City to back home really easily from Saratoga Springs through Amtrak, where we're actually having a Metro North line come up pretty soon too, which is pretty cool. Um, we also, about our campus size, we're a smaller private liberal arts college. We have around 2,700 undergraduate students in total, with an average class size of 16 students, and a student to faculty ratio of about 8 to 1. We're a school where all of our students come in as undeclared majors, whether or not you know what you're interested in studying, or you're still kind of undecided. Our students have up until the end of their sophomore year to declare their major. And we offer over 45 different majors and over 40 minors, with that being able to have some really popular programs in management and business, political science, studio art, environmental studies and sciences, psychology, English, and economics, where about a third of our students end up majoring or minoring within the sciences, about a third end up majoring or minoring in the social sciences and humanities, and about a third within the arts. So with that, our students also have a lot of flexibility to double major or major and minor in different areas depending on what they're interested in. It doesn't have to all be within, one area or another. It's very common for our students to go across academic disciplines, being able to do neuroscience and dance, music and business, that there's a lot of different ways that you can make those combinations, but also offering a pretty unique opportunity called our self-determined major where you can sort of create your own major with the guidance and support from academic advisors. Speaking about advisors, all of our students get to select who their academic advisor is once they declare their major. So if there's a professor who has a teaching style that you really enjoy, or maybe they've done work or worked in a certain field that's relevant to what you're interested in studying, you can choose them as your advisor. Same thing would go if you are double majoring. If you would like to have a second advisor for that second major department, you can definitely select them as well. Being that we are a smaller college and, smaller class sizes, our professors really get to know our students both kind of on a personal level and on an academic level, which is very nice. For us, all of our students will take some sort of all college requirements during their time here at Skidmore, where there are more set areas of study we want our students to take classes in rather than set classes. And oftentimes, students are able to sort of double dip in between these different courses, where one class is able to fulfill multiple requirements. So it's not as if you have to take, so many different classes and things that you're not interested in. Oftentimes, our students, by the end of their sophomore year, are able to complete a good number of those all college requirements just by taking classes that they're interested in. One of the very first classes that our students will take at Skidmore will be the Scribner Seminar, which is a first year seminar style class where it's about 16 first year students in that class with the professor who's created it as a passion project of theirs, something that might be relevant or might be completely different from what they teach on a day-to-day basis, where they've done a lot of extensive work on, finding out more about this topic that is very interdisciplinary to be able to teach first year students about. Within that course as well, they will also have opportunities for students to have a peer mentor in that class. That's going to be an upperclassman student who's guiding you through your orientation process here on campus. They're also going to be someone who's participating in class alongside you, having time set aside where it's just the peer mentor and the students in the class to talk about everything from how to do your laundry on campus to, knowing where all of your resources are from the health center to knowing where the writing center in the library is, the best study spots, being able to have that peer-to-peer resource when you're in a very new place. And maybe it's not something you want to go to a professor or an advisor about, and it's more on that peer level that you have that person ask those questions. For these courses, there's usually about 40 to 45 of these different first year seminar classes that students can take, ranging across all of these different academic disciplines, where students are able to review the list and the course descriptions the summer before coming to Skidmore. And from there, they're able to rank their top 10 choices of seminars. With that, students are placed usually in their top three seminars, if not their first or their second choice. And because students have ranked the courses they're most interested in taking, students are often engaging, with other students who have similar interests to themselves. Sam and Val, do you mind talking about your Scribner seminar experience, but also the peer mentor aspect as well?
I can start. So my seminar was called The Dancing Brain. It was an intersection of neuroscience, childhood education, and like physiology and movement. So really the kind of like it was my second choice, but I absolutely loved it. It was really cool to like kind of go and like apply everything that I've learned in that seminar. So it was a very much an intro to college kind of course. We learned how to annotate literature and how to like write on a college level, which has been really useful. And then in our fourth hour, our peer mentor was there to like support us in any way that we needed, whether like you said, it's laundry and things like that. We also had some departments like the Career Development Center come in. We've had the peer health educators come in, which is an academic program that supports peer health on campus. So definitely like you really get like a little map to like all the resources on campus with your peer mentor, which has been really nice. And then for my final project for that class, we ended up doing a lesson plan in our Tang Teaching Museum, which is one of our Oh, which is we have a teaching museum on campus, and we had an exhibit. It was called the Coral Reef, and it's a crocheted coral reef, and basically we taught them about coral bleaching, and we had like a little exercise beforehand, and it was like we had third graders come from Albany so we could actually teach them, and third graders are the quietest bunch in the world. And then suddenly it's like they're so rowdy, and then we do like a little exercise. So we did like swim like a dolphin, like, swim like a jellyfish, kind of get them moving, and then really, really saw everything that we learned kind of like culminate in this one thing. Like, oh wow, they really like calming down and listening to what we said. This class made me realize that maybe childhood education is not for me, but I was interested in neuroscience. So,
Yeah, so I feel like so many of the Scrivener seminars end up doing a project in the Tang. There's so many. I mine did not, but so mine was called Real Democracy. It was focused on local politics and specifically local politics in Saratoga Springs, which are very entertaining to learn and observe. I don't know why everybody here is just crazy, but it's really entertaining, and it was a really great class. My professor, he's still my advisor, Bob. He's awesome. I text him all the time. He's just super helpful with career stuff, and college stuff in general. My peer mentor, Maria, she was awesome. She was a senior, so she really knew Skidmore very well and really was just a great resource for us. She gave us good tips on like essay writing, but also just like how to handle your reading workload and just things like that. Things that you know you're gonna have to learn, but it's always nice to have somebody kind of helping you and just giving you a little advice about it as well. And I just found it really helpful. And my class was awesome. I think in that class I have at least there's at least five people that I'm like consistently in contact with still. Like I'm friends and I see them all the time. And then my entire class, like I'll say hi. And usually they're capped at 16 students, which is our average class size. So I used to have usually every person that was in that class. We all just really got along well. And our final project was so we did a poll. So it was during the local election in 2023, and we actually did a polling, and then we did like a stats analysis of the election, and we got to kind of see the results and figure out what that meant and then actually present it to the local officials. So we got to tell the mayor why he lost and all the other positions. But it was very fun. It was a really interesting class. It definitely I think it reaffirmed my interest in politics because I was pretty sure I wanted to do something in politics, and I was pretty sure after that. But I just really found it a great class, and it really helped me adjust to Skidmore, but also really understand the level of resources that you get here and the level of support you get from the faculty, but also the other students around you, and also just the resources on campus. So I can only say great things about it.
Thank you both. Had trouble finding the mute button. Um, yeah, no, I think the first year seminar is a great kind of like how to do college, knowing that students are also coming from various different academic backgrounds, that they're really kind of setting you up for success in college. And that's really kind of what it's there to do. And instead of, having only like a very short orientation, it feels like almost like a full semester's worth of an orientation because you have that advisor, that professor who's teaching that class will be your academic advisor until you declare your major and select your advisor. You can definitely keep them on. I think, Sam, did you keep your advisor on as well? Yeah, so we kept Bob on. But also being able to kind of have that support system of the professor will be checking in with you throughout, the time, the first semester of like, hey, have you eaten a vegetable yet? Have you been able to like get involved in clubs? Are you able to like, have you made any friends or what's your favorite class right now? That they're really there to also help you on that personal level. Also want to highlight, if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the Q&A, and Sam and Val, and me will be answering them as we go. But also to talk more on our other all college requirements, you have that Scrivener seminar as your first one, but you also have students who will be taking, a course within expository writing. You'll be taking a semester of a foreign language, which can be done on campus, or if you choose to study abroad. We have students take an applied quantitative reasoning course, which could be anything from, a micro or macroeconomics class to being able to take a set lighting design class within, our theater department. You're able to really kind of tailor it to what you're interested in taking. We also have students take a global perspectives course, so looking at non-Western cultures outside of the Western Hemisphere, being able to take, a scientific inquiry, a humanistic inquiry, as well as an artistic inquiry. And then during your junior year, usually students will take a class called the Bridge Experience that usually has some sort of community engagement component to it, where it's looking at, systems within the US, power and justice and how it shaped the country and the world that we're in today. And then also having your final component, which will be your senior coda. And your senior coda will be focused on what you are majoring in. If you're double majoring it, you only have to take one senior coda that you get to select. These are basically like your final kind of preparation course at Skidmore. It's going to help prepare you for a final project or presentation, possibly a thesis paper, depending on what you're majoring in. It might look slightly different, but also helping you to prepare for finding a job or going to graduate school. There's a lot of built-in like career support into that course as well. Oftentimes, they've built in networking opportunities to connect with recent graduates from Skidmore who were majors within the academic department to talk to them and connect and see, where they're at now and if they have any advice for upcoming graduates. It's really nice that you have, both your first year seminar, but then your senior coda that helps to kind of like bookend your experience at Skidmore. And again, oftentimes students are able to kind of double dip across these different areas where it's not you have to take one class in each of them. You're often taking one course and it might fulfill multiple requirements, which is pretty nice. For us as well, we also want to allow our students to go abroad if that's something you want to do. Our students can go abroad for up to 3 semesters at Skidmore. You can go abroad no matter what your major or minor might be, if you're on the pre-med track or pre-law track. If that's something that you want to do, being able to work with your advisor and the off-campus study and exchange office, they will make sure that happens for you. One of the other great things about our study abroad programs at Skidmore is that your financial aid will follow you abroad. So, meaning that it won't be any extra cost in order to go abroad for a semester or longer than it would be to be able to attend Skidmore. We offer a really unique program called our First Year Experience in London program, where we take about 30 first-year students to London for the very first semester of college with 2 Skidmore professors. For this program, it's completely optional. Some students are very ready to go abroad and ready to travel, and you're really interested in maybe going to London. And you can apply for this program when applying to Skidmore. And then once you're admitted to Skidmore and the London program, it's completely up to you if you want to enroll. We're never forcing you to go. We do only have a few requirements for it, is to have a valid passport and to be 18 before the plane lands in London. So that way we have all our bases covered in terms of insurance purposes. But there have been some fun birthdays on the plane over to London before. As for students who go abroad their first semester of college to that London program, many will often go on to study abroad their junior year as well, where we offer Skidmore run programs in France and New Zealand, but also having about 118 other programs in about 45 different countries run by other abroad institutions and universities that we have vetted to make sure they'll meet all of your academic learning goals and that all of your credits will transfer back to Skidmore, making sure that that is totally possible for you. For students who might not want to go abroad for, 4 months or longer at a time, we also offer really cool classes called travel seminars that you take during the academic semester on campus. At the end of that semester, you travel with your classmates and professors for about 2 to 3 weeks, depending on the program. This coming summer, I believe we have a program going to Sweden. We have another that's going to Ireland with an English program. Another last summer that went to South Korea with our anthropology and Asian studies departments, as well as others that have gone to Botswana through our education studies department. That there's a lot of great ways to travel that doesn't necessarily have to be, a few months long, that you can do multiple travel seminars if that's something that you want to do. As for research on campus, While we are an undergraduate institution and we don't necessarily have, graduate students, so master's or PhD students, I feel like it's a great advantage to our students because they have all the resources to begin doing research much earlier on and have all of that access to do that research themselves, starting the second semester of their first year at Skidmore. We do research in every single academic department, ranging from typical, lab science research, what you might typically think of, to research that Sam did in a political science class, to being able to do research for a professor who's working within the English department and they're writing a children's book. You're able to do a variety of different things, and oftentimes students are able to stay for 5 week or 10 week long programs, where if you're interested in doing summer research, those are also really great opportunities. Many of our students also have the opportunity to have their work published in academic articles and journals, but also having the opportunity to present their research at conferences both nationally and internationally. For Skidmore, everything will look slightly different depending on the department. Some departments will hold research fairs where you can talk to research assistants as well as our professors who are doing collaborative research. Sometimes it might be as easy as talking to a professor and say, I have an interest in doing this research. Can you help me out? Or if a professor sees that you're doing really well in a course and you have an affinity for a certain type of research, a certain type of work, they might ask you to be the research assistant, which is pretty nice. Oftentimes, students are also able to do research for credit during the academic year and be able to do paid research during the summer months. For you guys, Sam, I know you're planning on going abroad very soon. Do you mind talking about that experience? And Val, do you mind talking about your opportunities that you've done research in on campus?
Yeah, I'm going to Madrid next semester, so well, I should say it's actually in like a month and a half. So coming up very quickly, which I'm super excited for. Yeah, so it's a pre-approved program through like an international school. It was a really easy process. Skidmore super helpful. I knew I wanted to go to Spain the entire time, like since freshman year, even before that. We have now multiple pre-approved programs in Spain in multiple cities. But I decided on Madrid. Process was really easy. I was like I wanted to get a little ahead of it, so so you can meet with your a study abroad advisor, and you'll get assigned one before, but you can really pick if you want to meet with somebody, just kind of talk about the process, talk about where you want to go. And I talked about like my interests in like language and political science, and then she kind of helped me like decide like what city made the most sense for that, and even like considering Latin America and stuff. So you can always go ahead and start thinking about it in the spring of your sophomore year or wherever you're going to go. And it's a really easy process. Like I said, I applied through Skidmore program, and you'll get a study abroad advisor through Skidmore. And so Eliza, she's been super helpful with any questions I had throughout the process. They send a lot of emails out. We just had our pre-departure meeting a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and they just kind of talked about the basics of going abroad and stuff, and they're just super on top of it and really helpful. And what's nice, which I didn't ever go to, but I have some friends who did. There's a lot of seminars that the study abroad office does all throughout the semester and throughout the year for different programs. They'll also do like a ice cream social on the Case Walkway. But there's a lot of ways that you can hear about the programs and talk to people who current students who are alumni of the programs and kind of hear about the different programs. So you have a lot of ways to engage with the study abroad office and hear about your different options and different programs. I think travel seminars are great. I have some friends who did the South Korea one. They absolutely loved it. They had an amazing time in South Korea. So if you definitely are like feeling a little nervous about going abroad for an entire semester, the travel seminars are a great option as well. And they usually have a wide variety, and they change every single year as well. So there's a lot of options, and you can study abroad a year and a half. So you have 3 semesters if you want to, as well as obviously first semester. So a lot of options. But yeah, I found the process really easy, and I'm super excited. I know last year we had the highest class of junior amount of juniors go abroad, and that number will probably go up again this year. So pretty much all of my friends are going abroad. So it's definitely encouraging. I think a lot of students are excited for it. All my friends are super excited. And I think, Skidmore also does a really good job of encouraging it, but also showing you your options and helping you kind of figure out what you want to do. So I'm super excited, and I'm nervous, but I'm very excited as well, of course.
I can talk about research. So you can do research like in any department as early as the second semester of your first year. I was actually just talking to one of my old religious studies professors for my bridge class, and we were potentially talking about me doing research with her, even though it's like, like out of left field for me, but maybe. But research is super easy to get involved with. In STEM particularly, different departments do it differently. In my department, you just like go up to a professor and you're like, hey, this thing sounds really cool. Can I sign up? And they'll be like, yeah, sure. Play with my dog. Like, okay. So that's kind of how I got involved with my professor. I was just like, hey, you seem pretty cool. And he was like, okay. And I was like, okay. And now I've been with him for, I think it's I started research my sophomore spring, so it's been a while, but it's like nice to like make like connections with professors in that way because it's like everyone here is just like super like chill, for lack of a better word. Everyone just like kind of wants to work with you and like it's just so collaborative and I mean our equipment, especially in the Center for the Integrated Science, is all brand new and like all very like integrated and into making it like as accessible as possible. So I think that's been really helpful as well. But I got involved with research. I've presented my research at conferences already. And then I did summer research last summer for 5 weeks. So we have 5 and 10 week program opportunities. With the summer research fund, you get your room and board paid for completely. So you get your housing and your meal plan paid for, which is pretty nice. And then you just get to do research full time, which has been super fun. My research in particular, we're looking at effects of dietary capsaicin in the cardiovascular system. That's actually what I'm doing my thesis on, which is like a little crazy to think about. But yeah, so it's super easy to get involved. If you're interested in doing research in chemistry or biology, they host a research fair at the end of every fall. So if you're interested in certain projects, you can hear about it from students themselves. We also have, I know for the psych department, you have to like rank the labs just because there's so much like um, uh, demand for psych research. People usually get into one of their five choices, so it's still pretty fun and easy to do. So yeah, research is great. I mean, I didn't think that I'd be doing research coming to Skidmore, but I'm just like it's like so fascinating. Like the professors are generally so passionate about it that you're like, oh, I really want to get involved because this person makes it seem so cool. So yeah, that's my little bit on research.
Thank you, Val. Thank you, Sam. So kind of transitioning more towards kind of career focus and life after Skidmore. Our students are, very well prepared to not only find internships while they're students at Skidmore, but also to go into graduate programs to find jobs after graduation as well. Val knows that for sure right now as an upcoming spring senior soon. But with our students, roughly about 85% do at least one internship, about 75% do two or more. Our Career Development Center will work with you from the beginning of your time at Skidmore throughout the rest of your life. So that way you have that lifetime commitment to them. But they also have really great resources if you're a student who has no idea what you want to study or like a vague idea of what you want to study, where we have folks that work in the Career Development Center office that will, work with folks who are interested in going into the medical fields, students who are interested in the arts, interested in business, or you just want to chat with someone on what can you do with this major, that there's a lot of great resources for that. We also have really great, networking opportunities both on campus and off campus. We also have, mock interviews to help prepare you for doing a job or internship interview. Being able to have resume review sessions, whether or not you have a very, well polished resume or you just got some bullet points on a piece of paper, they will help you to kind of put that into a very polished version. So that way you can apply to jobs, you can apply to internships. In terms of finding internships and finding jobs after college, oftentimes professors can be a really amazing resource to you. Sam, I will have you speak on that in a moment, but being able to, get to know the students as the professors do, they also get to know, what they're interested in going towards, what specific area of, say, political science, or if you're going to physical therapy school, what opportunities might be relevant to you, that they're able to really tailor that to the student's interests. But also being able to have a specific search place for those internships Skidmore has a partnership with Handshake, which is very similar to LinkedIn, where students have their own profile. They have their majors, their minors, their class year. They can upload a resume onto that too, so they can directly apply to internships, directly apply to jobs. There's a lot of great filtering that you can do in order to find things closer to home for the summer months. Or maybe you want to do something during the academic year while you're at Skidmore if you're looking for something locally that they're able to really tailor it to wherever you might be looking for and whatever you might be looking for. Skidmore students also are able to connect with any alumni or any current students who maybe have worked at that company, worked in that industry, being able to have those networking tools as well. In order to, do an unpaid internship, not all students have the availability to do that. And Skidmore also offers really great funding through the Summer Experience Fund, where students can receive up to $4,500 for an unpaid experience throughout the summer. You can use that money towards, any necessary materials you might need for that internship. If it's towards transportation of either driving, so gas money, or taking a train, taking a bus, being able to cover those costs. Or maybe you're not living at home during the summer while you're doing that internship, that you're able to really be able to kind of take advantage of using that money towards rent money. But also at the same time, you can use some of that money towards saving up for the upcoming school year. Really kind of gives you best of both worlds of being able to do something relevant towards your career interests, but at the same time, save a little bit of money too. Sam, do you mind talking about your internship experience this past summer, but also how Bob is?
Yeah, so I actually got the summer experience fund grant this summer. It was great. So I interned for my city council member, Christopher Marte, in New York City. It was a really great internship. I applied because the city council they don't have the budget to pay interns. So I applied for the grant, and I got it. And so I spent my summer working in a city council office. It was really interesting. It was I don't know, I loved it. It was a great experience seeing local government and local government on a scale where they manage, a budget with billions of dollars, and kind of all the work they do in the community and stuff. And I just really loved it. I really enjoyed it. And I think um I can only say good things about it. It was really great. And it was nice. So with the summer experience when you have to write a blog post, so I got to kind of reflect on my internship and kind of what I did and what I worked on. But I mean, I loved it. And yeah, so big thing at Skidmore, obviously, I'm sure most people know, we really highlight our professors and how amazing they are, and how they really care. And I think that a big part of that is how much they want to help you um advance in your career and help you kind of explore your career path. And in that, obviously a lot of professors, most professors have had a lot of jobs and they have a lot of connections in a lot of different fields, and so they are an excellent resource. I took an environmental science class last semester about U.S. public lands and oceans, and my professor AJ, he spent like the entire semester just mentioning different j jobs, internships that any of us could get during the summertime, during the winter, during the semester. Like I'm pretty sure every single class he mentioned one different, internship or job that one of us could get. And Bob, my advisor, is sending emails to the political science department all the time with different jobs, different internships. He's talking to me about them individually, and I'm sure every department's the same way, where professors really just want to give those opportunities to students and share those internships and jobs. And obviously they know people that work in different fields, and so like they'll know about internships before other people might, and so you sometimes will get kind of an advantage on that, which is super nice, to not have to apply to some crazy competitive internship. And yeah, I mean it's great. I think it really kind of eases the stress of having to find a summer internship or summer job. And the fact that we have 85% of our students at least doing one and 75 doing two, I think that speaks to the support of our career center and also our professors and helping students kind of find and navigate that process. So yeah, it was great. He told me he has a job for me next summer. I don't know what it is. He hasn't told me yet, but something in campaign. So I will find out soon, I'm sure. But I'm super excited, and I just, yeah, it's just really, professors are just great. And I've had other classes like with AJ just talking about different jobs and internships where, you can find that, and I think it's helpful, and also I think it's reassuring, and also lowers the stress level. I can't speak to the career search yet, but like I think knowing that professors are have your back and want to help you find jobs and internships is just really awesome.
Thank you, Sam. Val, do you mind talking about your experience and where you're at right now?
Yeah. So I love the Career Development Center. I particularly love Rachel Chase. She is, we have, so in the Career Development Center, we have people who are like not designated, but like are like specialized in like a certain job field. So we have someone who does law. We have someone who does, I know there's a business one. There's a pre-health one. So if you go into any health school, so like PT, OT, med school, vet school, podiatry school, optometry, like any kind of pre-health profession, she is your person. She is she is the reason I got into grad school. Like I genuinely cannot like thank her enough. Like I came to her with my personal statement and she was like, this kind of sucks. Let's fix it. So we fixed it in a couple sittings, and it was like really nice to like be like, oh, like I'm not sure about this. What do you think? And she's like, oh, like this is what I think of this. She's like super funny and she was super understanding. And once I like got into grad school, she was like, I was like, Rachel, I got it. And she was like, oh my God. So it's been like super exciting to have her kind of in my corner. So it's been like the Career Development Center is so super helpful. If anyone here is interested in any other health professions, we do have the Health Professions Advisory Committee. So in addition to your advisor, you get a secondary advisor who can help you plan if you, especially if you want to go abroad or anything like that, they can help you plan out your courses so that you make sure you take everything on time, if depending on when you want to apply. So that's been really helpful as well. But they mostly specialize in like med school things. So the Career Development Center I think is more helpful if you're on the like if you're a physical if I don't know if any of you are, but if you're interested in like physical therapy or occupational therapy, then I think the Career Development Center would be more helpful. But it's still been a great resource to have. Like, there's so many people supporting you in like every part of the process. And like, my advisor was actually a physical therapist. She used to work in a clinic like 2 minutes away from campus, and now she's a professor. So it's been really nice like bounce off ideas off of her, and like you really get a lot of support. I was also able to set up my LinkedIn with the help of the Career Development Center, and through that, I was able to connect with alumni. Who are now physical therapists or are currently in PT school, so I can have my questions answered if I ever had any. So it's been really nice to kind of have that support as well. And I remember I was applying over the summer and I was having like transcript issues for whatever reason, and I called the registrar. I was like, I don't know what's happening. Like I'm like, and I was like traveling with my family, and I'm like in this field, and I'm calling the people at the transcript, and I think it was Catherine. She was like, "Don't worry, like we got this. Like we'll like put it on like special mail or whatever." And I was like, "Oh my God, thank you." So definitely like everyone's just super friendly and helpful. And yeah, so now I've gotten into a couple of programs, so I'm currently deciding where I want to go. But yeah, it's been really nice to like have like Skidmore. Like I think something like we've been talking about how great our professors are. Something that I think is really highlighted to me now is like just how awesome they are. Just because my friends who go to schools in the city, they're like have to kiss up to their professors here are just like, oh, let me like write you a letter of rec. Oh, like, and I was like joking around with one of my physics professors, and I was like, oh, like you should write me a letter of rec. That'd be really funny. And he's like, no, I'll do it. And I was like, no, you don't have to. And he's like, are you sure? Like, I can definitely write you one. I was like, that's fine. Don't worry about it. So just like, it's like the opposite problem of like, there's just so many people offering you to write letters. So it's like a nice problem to have, and I think that's something that makes Seymour like is forever special. So yeah.
Thanks, Val. All right, so transitioning more to kind of campus life and what our students are doing outside of the classroom. Skidmore is a primarily residential campus, so we have about 90% of our students who live on campus for all 4 years, and we do guarantee housing for all 4 years for our students. For us, we have over or have around 100 different clubs and organizations that are completely student run, from a student government association, school newspapers, kind of those typical things you might think of, but also having a really popular outing club. So we are about 25, 30 minutes from the base of the Adirondack Mountains. So through our outing club, they will do everything from, going on weekly hikes from varying difficulty levels to going indoor and outdoor rock climbing when the weather permits. During the winter now, possibly going ice climbing, which personally terrifies me, the thought of that. But also being able to, do things for beginners as well, that we have all the gear and supplies that you would need and provide transportation to get to and from those locations as well, which is pretty awesome. We have a number of community service-based clubs on campus that work with the local community as well as Saratoga Springs community or Skidmore community, but also having a number of academic focus clubs, pre-professional clubs, but also having great performance-based clubs, such as like the Found Item Drumming Club called Pulse, to having a cappella groups, to having comedy groups, where our a cappella group and comedy groups all have one that is all inclusive and others that are audition based. Same thing goes for dance. We have dance teams, we have step club, we have an all inclusive dance team as well. So being able to have that that our students are really able to get involved in as many things as they would like as possible. We have 19 Division III sports teams and play within the Liberty League. So we play against schools like Vassar, Union College, Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, very much modeling the student athlete model where our students are focusing on their academics and their schoolwork first and being athletes second, being able to balance both of that with working with their coaches and working with their professors to be able to make sure both of those things are possible for our students. We also have a number of club and intramural sports. Val can speak to those as well. That our students are able to get involved in, whether or not they know that coming into college, or it's a thing that they're like, oh, I love this. This is really awesome. That students still can get involved in athletics, even if you're not playing a varsity sport. We also have a brand new tennis health and wellness center on campus as well, where we have indoor tennis courts, outdoor tennis courts. We've redone our weight room, our locker room spaces, and cardio spaces. That it's really great space, but also tying in our peer health educators, our counseling center, and our health center down there as well. That you're really able to kind of have it all there. And for students to get involved, do you guys mind talking about what it's like to get involved on campus and what your favorite, maybe like Skidmore memory or tradition has been?
I can start. It's super easy to get involved with anything. Club fair is massive in the fall. Skidmore Polo actually brings out a wooden horse and you can like head off a wooden horse. It's kind of awesome. There's a cappella clubs singing at you. There's people throwing frisbees around. There's candy being thrown everywhere. It's a lot, but you really get to see how like alive the campus is. And you sign up for like a million things, and you're on like a million emailing lists. You can go to everything, or you can go to nothing, or you can go to one thing and not think about the rest. Like it's very non-committal. So like you can go to say the Knitwits or knitting club once and watch a Great British Bake Off with them and never go there again. Or you can become super involved and go on e-board. So it really depends on what level of involvement you want, and that's what's so great about our clubs. All of our club events are listed on SkidSync, which is this like online platform where you can see all the events. So you can RSVP if needed, or you can just check out what's happening on campus. Like, oh, there's yoga in the chapel on Sunday. Let me go to that because I need to do some de-stressing and do some stretching. So definitely lots of things out there. My favorite Skidmore tradition's a little hard. There's a lot. I think my favorite like memory was my first year in the fall when they brought the therapy llamas. I didn't know that therapy llamas are a thing. So I was like, I see a crowd of people, and then it's starting like, and I'm like walking closer, and it's starting to smell like a farm a little bit, and I look, and I'm like, why is everyone like what is everyone surround like why is there like a crowd of people on our like main green on campus? There are two llamas there. One has like a rainbow bow tie. It was like, oh, okay, so that's what Skidmore's about. Like, oh, okay. Like I was really caught. I was really shocked, but definitely something that sticks out in my head. And it's great. I mean, we have therapy dogs that come every week, and like it's just like very like pet friendly campus, which I really enjoy. And one of my friends has a cat in her dorm, so like lots of animal love for those who are gonna miss their pets from home. So yeah.
Um, yeah, so being a club president, I think like we're like really focused, me and my e-board really focused on just like having events that people can go to and making things engaging and educational. I think that's pretty much how all the club presidents and e-boards think is like, um, we don't care if somebody comes to one of our meetings and doesn't come to the next one. Like that doesn't matter. Obviously we want people to, but like we're not upset if they don't. Like we know people are busy, and it's more about just doing things that we know will be educational and the community will appreciate. And all of our events are, and pretty much every club is like this. All of their events are always, unless it's like a practice for a audition group, but everything else is always open. Um, usually as long as you RSVP, sometimes not as well. But just having those opportunities for students is what really the focus is. And I think what's really nice is like if you want to be really involved, you can, like Val said, or if you don't want to be really involved, it's also fine. And you can still go, you could not be involved for 3 years and then suddenly decide you want to be on the executive board of the club. And nobody will bat an eye. They're just like, that's wonderful. It's awesome that you want to do that. And so I think having those opportunities is really great. And the opportunity that we have because we have so many clubs is really nice. And also just the fact that you can get really involved as soon as your first semester. I had a friend who became the president of Outing Club, one of our bigger clubs on campus's second semester. So like it's really up to you how much you want to be involved, which I think is really great and just a really nice thing to have. And I think it also in the social sense like helps you be able to like, oh, I can just go to these things and meet people, and I never feel any pressure about it or anything. You can just go if you want to, which is always really nice. And I'll say too, my favorite tradition is Big Show, which is our concert on campus, which is run by our student events committee every single year. They'll bring in an artist, usually like a opener and then a main stage. This year we had Kyle, and last year was Natasha Bedingfield. Really fun. It's always Skidmore only. I've been 3 years in a row, and I really enjoy it. I think my favorite Skidmore memory, like freshman year, probably was just going to the basketball game. One of my roommates who was on the basketball team. So me and my other roommate went like every like Friday night or Saturday night game they had. We went to those. It's really fun. Just a nice time to just go cheer with your friends. You get to yell. The basketball teams have something called the Big Green Scream, which is uh, the last home game for both teams. And it's kind of like it's also environmentally focused, which Skidmore is a big focus on being a green campus. So there's like a recycling monster. You get free T-shirts if you're like the first 200 people. I think I haven't got one yet. I really want to get one. I need to get one senior year. But it's just really fun. Also, of course, the point is to go and scream. I just remember just going to the basketball games being really fun. They're actually pretty good. They're doing really well this year as well. So, but yeah, I think the on the like the athletic side is like just having the access to going to all the sports, the different sports teams and their games is really fun. Me and my friends will sometimes go to like the soccer games on the weekend because we have friends on the women's soccer team. So like just having the opportunity to go all those things is really nice and fun and just great memories always.
Thank you guys. So yeah, I mean, I think being on campus too is great because you're also in such close proximity to downtown Saratoga Springs that it's, within a 15-minute walk. It's very, walkable area, very friendly area that I think that is one of the things Saratoga Springs specifically that makes Skidmore different than other similar liberal arts colleges up in the Northeast. We are a town of around 30,000 residents, so it's not the biggest town in all, but we also have a number of different restaurants, coffee shops, bookstores. There's always something going on. Like this Thursday night, there is a Victorian street walk where the town is all decorated with, holiday decorations and lights. There's going to be carolers, there's going to be other performances. That's really nice to be able to have things to do not only, on campus, but if you're feeling like you need a break and you want to get off campus, downtown Saratoga is also really great. We also have farmers markets when the weather is nice on both Saturdays and Sundays outside. There is our Performing Arts Center downtown as well. So they'll have the New York City Ballet and Philadelphia Orchestra perform every single summer. I got to see artists like Kendrick Lamar perform at SPAC, which is pretty cool. But there's like these big known names too, but also having more classical and contemporary music as well. So before talking more about kind of like admissions information and financial aid, Val and Sam, do you mind doing your why Skidmore?
I'll go first this time. Well, my why Skidmore is about professors. I went to a small public school in New York City, and I knew my teachers really well. I felt like they knew me really well. And when I was looking at colleges, I really felt like I wanted a place where I felt like the professors really wanted to get to know me as a student, but also just as a person. And I talked to multiple people who went here, and they kind of all said the same thing, like you're gonna love your professors. I text my professors all the time, like I want to go back to Saratoga Springs. I love it so much. But I can say it's 100% true. I think every class I've had, I've really felt like the professor really wants to get to know you, and you feel that. and they will learn everybody's name in your class pretty much either on the first day or the first week. I had a political philosophy professor. He memorized everybody's name in like the first 10 minutes of class. I don't know how he did that, but he did. And but also they just really want to get to know you. And I had a professor last year, Erica, who would every class like ask like how everybody's weekend was, or what were you doing during the week, or what was a fun thing you did, what were your Halloween costumes, like things like that. Just kind of just get to know you, and I think all of them will also encourage you to go to their office hours. And I was thinking about this the other day. All of my professors have always said they'll say you can come to our office for academic stuff or for anything else. And so I think and it's really true. Like they want to just talk to you. There's a high chance you'll go there and they'll have a dog in their office, or they'll bring a dog to class. But they really just want to get to know you. And I think a lot of professors will also let them call you by their first name. Just depends on the department sometimes. But they're just really friendly. And I think the environment of our friendly students starts with our professors. And I think the culture they create in classrooms really speaks that. And our seminar classrooms and just our discussion-based environment, they really feed into that. And I think you always feel comfortable in class, like you want to talk and you want to share and you want to really be involved because you can feel that they're putting in that effort as well. I think that matters a lot. And yeah, I can only say good things. I think every person who decides to or who applies to work at Skidmore understands like the culture and what kind of professor they want here. And so I think all of them come in kind of excited to be in this discussion environment. I had the political science department hired a new professor this year, and he was talking about how at his previous school, he felt like he was doing most of the talking. He was really excited to come here where he felt like, or he knew that the students would want to be engaged and want to be talking a lot of class. And he was just telling us that they're our last like full class, and he was telling us that, like how nice it's been to like have discussions with us and really like also learn from us. And so I think professors also know that like they really want to bring you into discussion and want and hear what you want to have to say. And I think that I had that impression before, and it's just completely come to fruition here as well. So
Yes. Before I continue with my why Skidmore, I'm going to answer the question that just popped up, and now it's too late to type it out, so I'm just going to say it. So students who don't have a car yet and live in New York City, how do they travel to Skidmore? Train nearby or bus? There is the Amtrak. There's two Amtraks that go from the Saratoga Springs train station. We also have another Amtrak in Albany, and then there's also a couple buses that go to New York City from Albany as well. So there's lots of ways to get back. I've taken the train a bunch of times, and it's very easy to do. So yeah. Anyways, that aside, when I was looking at colleges, I wasn't Skidmore was not on my list. My mom was scrolling at niche.com with me, and she was like, Saratoga Springs, I want to go there. Skidmore College sounds like a good school. Let's do it. I was like, whatever. Okay. So we get there, and the first thing I remember is how like fresh the air was, because like it was just like so light, and it was like it's crazy to me. And everything was very green, which I'm not used to like at all. And I remember walking through campus. It was like COVID time still, so everyone was like social distancing. So yeah, and it was just like my tour guide was saying hi to everybody and like was super friendly, and it was just like seeing like the environment through these like terrible times of COVID was pretty cool. And then I was able to tour my department. And I got to know some of the faculty, and I was like, this seems like the perfect place. Like I didn't go to a small school. My college counselor didn't really know me, and just like being like more than a number was definitely something that drew me in. And then our faculty are just amazing, and the Center for the Integrated Sciences was still being built, so I was like, that's going to be a really nice spot. So it was just really cool to see everything come together. And the reason I keep choosing Skidmore is definitely like Sam said, like the professors really like make it like it feels like you're human, which is like feels like a low bar, but you just feel like you're like having actually an interaction rather than just being like talked at. Or like one of my professors, he was like, yeah, like the reason I chose Skidmore was because the people here actually want to learn, unlike in other places. So I don't know, just like I really see that reflected in my peers as well. So I don't know, it's a pretty cool school. So.
Perfect. Thank you both. So now to talk about admissions and financial aid information. For Skidmore, we are on the Common application, the Coalition application, and we're a QuestBridge partner as of last year in 2024. For Skidmore, we do a very holistic review of applications, meaning we're not just looking at one thing or another. We're looking at your application as a whole to see that academically would be successful here, but also if it's the right fit for you as well. For Skidmore, we've been test optional for SAT and ACT scores for about 10 years. So 2026 will be 10 years. And students who are submitting scores, it is completely up to you. If you feel like your scores accurately represent you as a student, go ahead and submit them. But if you're a student who's worried about do they really want to see scores? Only about a third of our students applied last year submitted testing. So it's really up to you. If we have it, we'll take a look. If we don't, we really are not thinking twice about it. We also know that every student goes to a different high school, knowing that you have different classes and course offerings, but also being able to have different grading scales. Really looking into your environment, how you're able to challenge yourself within it, and being able to see, hopefully, an upward trend in grades for that. For our students, we'll look at your personal essay. Skidmore does not have any supplemental essays, so it is just your personal essay, the prompt you chose, how you're answering it, for us to get to know a little bit more about you. We'll look at your activities and what you're involved in, from everything to, clubs, sports, part-time jobs, family obligations. If you're a student from New York City, how long is your commute to and from school each day? Better understanding, how you're kind of being integrated within your own community. We will look also at three letters of recommendation, so one from a guidance counselor or a college counselor, and then two from teachers, getting to see who you are as a student both inside and outside of the classroom. For Skidmore, we are a need-aware institution, meaning we do consider financial need when making admissions decisions. We also forgot to mention we do track demonstrated interest. I saw that question that Sam had answered earlier when making admissions decisions as well, meaning that if you've come to a virtual session like tonight, that counts towards demonstrated interest. If you came to campus in person for, a campus visit, open house, or maybe I came to your high school, another one of our counselors came to your high school and visited and did an information session. That is awesome too. But also having other virtual ways besides these to be able to connect with some of our current students and ask questions. Back to financial aid. Sorry about that. Skidmore will meet 100% of demonstrated financial need for all students who are admitted to Skidmore. And that's guaranteed for all 4 years. You would be submitting the CSS profile if you are applying for financial aid. If you are an international student, we also have an international student financial aid form that's linked directly to your application. So you do not have to fill out the CSS profile if you do not want to. You can fill out that international student financial aid form. For us, roughly about 65% of our first year class who just came in this past fall received some form of financial aid. And we do have two merit-based scholarships. Both are $20,000 per year. They are $80,000 over the course of the 4 years, and one for students who are interested within the STEM fields called the Porter Wackenheim Presidential Scholarship. And students who receive that scholarship are required to take one math or science class per semester and then participate in research beginning the second semester of their first year. They are not required to be math or science or STEM majors or minors at all, but are required to do those two things. And this is something you'd apply for when applying to Skidmore through the Common application or Coalition application and be directly linked in your application if you want to apply. A second scholarship would be our Filene Music Scholarship for students who've been classically trained in music. Slightly different, students will be a video submission. So that will be reviewed by music faculty and finalists will be selected to perform on campus. Students are not required to be music majors or minors in any way, but are required to be involved in performance each semester and then take private lessons that are covered by that scholarship. For dates and deadlines, we offer early decision and regular decision at Skidmore. Early decision round one was November 1st. Early decision round two is January 8th. And that is the same day as our regular decision deadline being January 8th. We do take about 50% of our first year class of around 700 through early decision one and two. So if you do have Skidmore at the top of your list, we are happy to, consider your application for early decision. But if you're a student who feels like, you want to have those options and you're not quite sure yet, I, applied to Skidmore regular decision and, was kind of weighing my options before all of that happened. Um, I realize that we probably were not able to get to all of your questions here this evening. So Sam, Val, and I will all drop our emails into the chat. And for that, you're also welcome to email our admissions office if there's something specific that you want to ask one of us. We can make sure it gets passed on to the appropriate person. But also knowing that there are a lot of other ways to virtually connect here as well. So we thank you so much for being here this evening. I hope you have a good rest of your day, your night, wherever you might be in the world. And thank you again for listening to us. We hope you have a good rest of your day.